So why I got into real estate? Growing up, I was always the kid when a baseball team was selling candy bars, or whether it was jump rope for hard, or buying a lawnmower from a garage sale and pushing it door to door to make money. I was that kid. So always been a numbers guy, always wanting to try to make some money, and that was me as a kid. I remember a project back in the day that our teacher had us do, where we had to pick a stock, monitor that stock, and then your goal was to have the most growth over a so many week period in your class, your stock compared to other kids' stocks. And so my stock was Delta, and I remember going to the newspaper every single day, watching my Delta stock, and I didn't win, but anyways, I loved it. I loved the numbers game. I've always been that way. And there's a lot about real estate that's similar to that as far as numbers. There's a lot of moving parts in a real estate transaction that have to be dealt with and that make up a good real estate transaction. So a buddy of mine, I think I was in my second year of college, a buddy of mine came and said, hey, let's go get our real estate license. And to do that, we had to drive from Ennis to Arlington and take these classes so that we would be able to take our state test and then go on and find a sponsoring broker to start selling real estate and so on. So we started taking classes in Arlington, and my buddy convinced me, and I was like, sounds like a great idea, an opportunity to make some money and to do something that I'd never done before. So we did that. We went the first day to Arlington at 6 a.m. after working until midnight the night before, and pretty much my buddy quit day two. So part of the deal with driving to Arlington was that he was going to drive, or we were going to alternate driving, so the driving part wouldn't be so hard on us. But he quit day two, and that left me to drive the rest of these, how many ever weeks I was taking classes to Arlington, to drive on my own. So anyways, I did that. That's when I started drinking coffee, learned a lot about real estate in those classes, but I learned even more once I finally got in the office at Century 21 in Ennis and got around some other brokers and agents that had been doing it for a long time. So I learned a lot there. And so I said earlier that I started because it was a cool idea to do something I'd never done, an opportunity to make some money. But what at the beginning, what I underestimated was the satisfaction that you get when you work with somebody in one of their biggest investments of a lifetime. Okay, whether it be somebody that's bought and sold 2, 3, 4, 5 houses, or if it's a first-time home buyer. It's pretty satisfying and pretty fulfilling, I guess is the best word for it. So that's why I got into real estate. I love it. I've got 10 years in now, and I'm going to be doing it for a long time. My most embarrassing moment as a real estate agent was I had a client, or I asked a client to sign the information about brokerage services, and what that is it's a one-page form. It's non-threatening. It's something that, as a real estate professional, you are to present to clients the first time you meet them, and all it is it's an explanation of the different types of relationships that a real estate professional can have with a client. Okay, so to teach you real quick what it is if I were to go through it right now, this information about brokerage services, I would tell you that you can have a relationship as a buyer's agent, which means I'm going to represent you as a buyer in your best interest. I'm going to try to help you get the best deal that we can get on this home, and I'm going to represent you as a buyer. If I were to represent you as a seller, that means I'm going to put my sign, my for sale sign, in your yard, and I'm going to get you the absolute most amount of money that I can get you on your house. So I'm going to represent you as a seller. I can represent you as a buyer, and then the third relationship is the intermediary relationship. Okay, and just real briefly, that's where if I have my sign in the yard and a buyer comes and they want me to represent them also, and I'm representing you as a seller, then you have what you call an intermediary relationship. Okay, and so I would go into further explain that and be done with it. Non-threatening, non-binding to sign this, but my most embarrassing moment was I was brand new in the real estate, sitting in the office. This lady called me off of the phone. I showed her a house. She loved it, and we sit down in the in the little conference room to type up an offer and to sign it, and we were going to shoot over an offer. And as I was supposed to, before we started talking numbers and anything, I sit down at the table, and I didn't know this lady, older lady, and I presented it all the wrong way, and I made it threatening. I told her that she had to sign this page before we could move forward, and that's pretty much how I explained it, not having any experience. And just to be short, she tore me apart. She made me, I'm a big dude, but she made me feel about like that big, and I crawled in my shell, and we didn't have a deal. I can't even tell you what happened after that, if she bought a house from somebody else in our office or what, but I can tell you that our relationship, me and her, was over after that, and she got me pretty good. It was pretty embarrassing. My first transaction, this won't take long, but other real estate professionals that see this might find this a little funny, but so my first transaction, I started selling real estate in 2005, which was probably the worst time you could start selling real estate, especially being brand new into the business, being a young person in college, not even owning your own house and trying to sell houses to other people. But my first transaction was in 2005. It was with a buddy that was a little bit older than me, but we went to school together, so he knew me that way, and it was him and his wife, no family, no kids or anything like that yet, but so they didn't need much. But my first transaction was a house in Garrett, and a really nice family house in Garrett. It was 900 square feet. The sales price that we got it for was $57,500, and they got a VA loan, which I learned a whole lot. My first transaction was a VA loan, which is a little bit more difficult than your standard conventional loan, so I learned a lot from that. $57,500 was the sales price. My commission check was about $1,300 after Century 21 took their split, and after it was all said and done. And I felt rich, but at the same time I felt poor because it was 2005. I was new. I was struggling just like most new agents do, and I pretty much had that money spent before I even got my hands on it. So pretty thankful for those clients and trusting me and letting me help them through that first transaction and being patient with me. Appreciate it. I mean,